YouTube. What y'all boys got going on today? We are going to be reacting to Find Your Purpose in Life. And this video is by Robert Greene. The goal that we are trying to accomplish through this video and through this reaction is to gain more perspective on how to find purpose in life and also relate our own personal experiences to this video. I realize that throughout these past videos, I've been trying to relate the situations and the examples of purposes to these different examples that you may be going through. But in this reaction, I'm going to relate how to find purpose to my own personal example and my own personal purpose so you guys can see that example and that experience through me and through my situation. So let's get right into it.
Your life's task. So you're a detective looking in the interior of your childhood, of your early years, for those kinds of details. Hello everyone out there, my name is Robert Greene. I'm the author of several books. My first one is perhaps the most famous one, The 48 Laws of Power. I've also written The Art of Seduction, The 33...
I read The Art of Seduction. I read it as the digital book, and it was so hard to understand because that book has so many different lines of text where some text go to one story and some text go to a completely different story. I don't know if the digital book was different than the paperback, but for some reason I could not comprehend because there was stories in between. Like imagine reading a book and it's like the cat was blue and then in between the lines it's like but the dog was going outside for a walk and then it finishes off with the story about the cat. Like imagine trying to read a book that has different stories in between different sentences. So I don't know about that. So if y'all read that book, let me know if you had that similar experiences. But obviously, come on, the 50 laws of power, the 48 laws of power, that's a hood favorite. Come on, that's a cell block favorite. I haven't read that one though. Let me know if y'all read that one in the comments.
Strategies of War. I co-wrote a book with the rapper 50 Cent called The 50th Law. I did a book called Mastery, Another Laws of Human Nature. My most recent book, The Daily Laws. As you can tell, my books sort of center around subjects dealing with power and interpersonal relationships. I want to talk...
So what does that say about Robert Greene? What did he learn that he lacked that allowed him to find his purpose and find his niche of writing these books about power and about dynamics and relationships? I should say a lot.
Now about probably the most frequent question that I get from people who email me, which has to do with a subject in my 5th book, Mastery. And in that book, I discuss what I think is the most important element in your life, the most important thing that you can discover or learn, which is what I call your life's task. And the idea is simple. You were born as an individual, completely unique. The DNA that comprises who you are has never existed in the millions of years of evolution and will never exist in the future. It is completely who you are. Your experiences as you grow up from 1 year and on is unique in the world. Nobody ever in the past or future will have exactly your experiences, exactly your parents, etc. That marks you as an individual, completely unique. It's like a seed that's planted at your birth, right? And if you cultivate that seed, if you cultivate that uniqueness, you discover your life's task and you have success and power and money will come to you.
He's actually a very good storyteller. He's breaking this down so well. And he's explaining how us as individuals have this innate uniqueness because our DNA and our unique experiences that we have. Like you don't have the same story that I have and I don't have the same story that you have. You didn't go through the same things that I went through as a childhood and I don't have your childhood trauma. So that's why it's so important to know yourself and to know your own design and what you are here for, because your experiences is different than these other people that you're seeing on social media or when you're watching me right now. Your experience can be completely different to mine. You could see this video and you can be like, oh man, he is so helpful. He is helping so many people with his purpose and showing them that anything is possible every single day by posting on YouTube and striving for his dream and going after his goal. Or you could watch this video and you could be like, yo, he's corny as hell. Like, why is he doing all these different things? Why is he over here one day and then over here another day? Like, our experiences are different. So it's so important that I stick to what I know about myself and stick to my goals. And also, you do the same. Don't look at this video or at me or at social media or at this or at that or all these different things in your environment, all these distractions, and try to make your life like this person or try to make your life like that person. You have to know your own design, what you are truly here for, your own purpose, and then you have to live that. You have to stick to that, and you have to be that. You have to embody that. So what he's saying about this individual uniqueness is so true, because my purpose and all these different things that I'm doing is for me. It's for my purpose. It's for what I'm trying to do. It's for what I'm doing. Your purpose and what you're doing, you have to find that for yourself. But how we can help each other and where we align and where I am able to reach through the screen and provide you with some love and some help is through my frameworks and through the things that I'm doing on my own purpose to then help you on your purpose. So that's where we align. But also remember that the things that I'm doing, you may not even want to do those things, or you may not be interested in the things that I'm talking about. But where we can connect and where we can see eye to eye is through the pursuit of purpose, that we believe in purpose. We know we are unique, and we know that we want to have purpose in life. We want to have direction. And also that this framework that I can provide for you, this will allow you to find that, right? And this will aid you on that journey. So find something throughout this video. Don't take things and look at it like, all right, when I'm telling my personal experience of my own purpose, don't look at it and be like, well, he has this or he doesn't have that, or look at the haves and haves not. Focus on your own purpose, but then use the framework of what I'm saying to help you get to that root of your purpose and to fuel you moving forward.
And your life will be fulfilled. And if you don't, to any degree, if you completely fail in that, then you're going to have the opposite. You're going to have a life of a lot of suffering and unhappiness and dissatisfaction. But the question always arises, how do I find my life's task? Robert, I really have no idea. The first thing I say is, it all depends on the level of your desire, which is true for anything in life. If you really, really want something, if you really love it, if it's really important to you, you will find the energy. You will find the answer. But if you're only kind of...
So this is the reason why I say getting to the root is so important, because as you can see, it's not a matter of desire. The reason why we desire so much, or that thing so much, is what's really important, not just the level of desire, which he's going towards. I truly believe that when you know why you desire that such thing and why you are driven to do that, you can use that as fuel, right? When you want to, for example, in my personal experience, I want to be a content creator. I am a content creator, but I want to gather and bring together a large community base where we can all share knowledge, information, resources, technology, connections, and all of this stuff. Pull all of that together. We can tap into it at any moment. We can go get that connection that you need to become or start that business. You can find that information that you need on your journey to start that clothing brand, to become an entrepreneur, to learn how to edit videos, and so on and so forth. So that's my purpose, right? And how I know and how I can add fuel to that and push myself further and grow my desire to do that is because I know my why, and I know why I'm doing it, right? And it's so important for you to know your why, because when times get tough, and right now when some videos are getting 1 view, some views are getting 1,000, some are doing this, I'm kind of stuck at this level where some of the views are 2,000 for the shorts, and then some of the views are not doing so well. So what keeps me going during that time? It's my why. And I can use that why, which is that abundance of love and that goal and that abundance of community that I first didn't have. And when I changed my mindset to having it and to being abundant in that, is that abundance that keeps me going. So I tell myself every day when I'm looking at the video views and it says, 100 views, when I worked for 3 hours on editing it and posting it and putting captions and putting transitions and putting hits and swooshes and all this entertaining stuff, what I tell myself is just keep going, you know. I tell myself this, I have an abundance of community. No matter what this view counter say, no matter what the likes say, no matter what the comments, no matter what the shares, I have an abundance of all those things. And by me telling myself that, now I can fuel it, right? I can fuel that desire to keep going because I know I have it in abundance and it's coming. It's already happened for me, right? So keep focusing on why instead of just that, okay, well, sometimes I'm motivated. This is like, you know, this generation of motivation, right? I did start a motivation page. I want you guys to check that out. But the reason I've started that is because I want to provide a different outlook on motivation, a deeper sense of where that motivation comes from. And we're in this age right now where motivation is it's such a term that's thrown around loosely because, you know, sometimes we're motivated to do it, sometimes not. When it gets hard, we're not motivated. When it's easy and we're getting the likes, we're getting the views, then we're super pumped up, right? But if you just only focused on why you are doing that activity, for example, in my case, why I'm building this community and what I am trying to accomplish, then the motivation and that desire can be manipulated by your own self, right? You know why you're doing it and you know that you're not being controlled by these other factors. It's actually coming from you and it's coming from your own desire. It's coming from your own why. Now you can manipulate the results, right? You can wake up and tell yourself again and again and again why you're doing this. I'm doing this to build community. All right, yeah. And what do you want that? And then you get into the specifics. Then you get into the other 5 W's. What does that community look like? You know, how am I going to go about improving? Then you start to hype yourself up. You get excited. You can control your own motivation. You are your own motivator. And that is what we are striving for. That is what's going to get you to your purpose. And also, it's going to allow you to control that journey of improvement and what you are operating from.
I'm half interested in it. If you're only kind of teased by the idea, if you're intrigued by it, it's not enough. You'll never have the energy to go through the search of discovering your life's task. So I tell you, you have to love this idea. You have to love that unique person in you as if it's like an actual human being that you love. You're falling in love with it. You want them. You want to pursue it. It means a lot to you. You also have hate because hate and anger is a very powerful emotion. You need to be motivated to this. What do you hate? You hate all the other influences in your life that are distracting you from your life's task. You hate your parents for telling you this is what you should go into. You don't hate.
Let's see where he goes with this.
Telling you that this is what you should go into. You need to become a lawyer. You need to become a doctor. You need to do this. Get rid of that. Get out of my life. Get that bullshit out of my head. You hate peers who are telling you what's cool, what's interesting. You hate all.
I wouldn't necessarily you have to hate it now. I feel like hate is a term that's, you know, I wouldn't say you have to hate it. I would say you have to develop your own sense of reality. You have to develop what that purpose is and the world that surrounds it and block out, not hate, just block out and build a barrier around your world and your purpose and let only certain things in. Or a better term, a term that is so much better than hate, is how you can eliminate and block out these distractions, block out these other things that are getting in your way or coming from all these different directions, all these ways that society and social media takes us away from our purpose and out of our own world, is by creating a strong filter. This is crucial. You don't have to hate it. What you have to do is develop a filter that is so strong and so fine at this bottom. Like, I know you guys seen, like, you know, filters where you're juicing or you're making coffee and you're pouring the contents through, and all of the stuff that is not the liquid, all the stuff that is not your purpose, all the things that don't align your passions with your purpose or push you forward in your journey, they get stuck in that filter. So as you're developing this very strong filter and you're making it as thin as possible at the bottom, so nothing, like barely anything but the things that push you forward, not the hate, not this, only the love, the abundance, the community, the purpose gets through that filter. And once you develop that strong filter, and how you develop that strong filter is by continuously pushing forward and continuously teaching yourself how to block out those things. It's not as simple as teaching yourself. You also have to live out that filter. You have to develop ways to become that filter and make that filter as tight as possible at the very bottom. I would say one solid way that I developed my filter and how I started determining my own purpose in my own life is by getting off social media, right? And being able to snap out of it when I'm getting sucked in. So when I'm creating reels and I go and I post a reel on my motivation page, and then I find myself, all right, I'm telling myself I'm going to go do some research on different motivational pages, see what I can implement into my own game, see what I can add to my profile to make it better. So then I see one thing, I say, okay, so I can add the page, right? I can add the basically the thumbnail of Instagram Reels. I can add a thumbnail. Okay, cool. And then I see myself getting kind of sucked in, but I immediately snap out of it because my filter is so strong, and it's telling me, all right, come on, you're starting to scroll a bit. You're getting lost in this realm of social media that's not even existent, and it's not helping you on your purpose. It's not adding more love. It's not adding more, life. It's not adding more abundance. It's not adding more health to you. It's not helping you push you forward on your purpose. Now you're just mindlessly scrolling. Now you watching twerking videos. What the fuck? So you gotta quickly snap out of it, and that's how you build up your filter. Every time you snap out of it, and every time you get back on your purpose, every time you get back to work, every time you snap from Instagram and get right back to editing, your filter gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and it's able to weed out all those contents of things that don't align with you and help you on your purpose. So not hate. Use the filter method, right? Filter out all that bullshit, like you were saying, from parents, from friends, from people outside of you that's not helping you.
All the crap on social media, it's filling you with what trends are, with what other people are doing, with what other people are interested. That's your enemy. The enemy is what people are trying to tell you what you should be interested in. So if you're able to generate that kind of love and to see clearly the enemy, then the life's tasks can kind of flow to you in a kind of nice, fluid manner. Now, the other thing is, as I've told in many other talks before, I do a lot of consulting. And the main problem I have with people who come to me with issues, and it's not to fault them because we all have this problem, is they don't deal with specifics. They kind of deal in generalities. I don't know how to deal with people. I've got this partner and I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know how to get my company and my group energized, etc. I'm trying to say, look, I need details. I need specifics. Don't focus on the big picture. Give me the details. Give me stories of what people are doing. Give me stories and details about what you've done and your frustration. I want to hear the little grains of sand, not the whole ocean of what's going on, the root. Right? People have a very hard time focusing on it. Well, it's the same thing with your life's task. It's not going to be Robert Greene wakes up and he's 9 years old and he goes, I want to be a writer. I'm going to write books. It doesn't work like that. So you're not going to be able to find that in your past. What you want are little details, little signs that reveal something essential. So if I look back on my own life, so I know it sounds a bit narcissistic, but it's easy because I know my own experience. I don't know yours. When I was about 9-10 years old, I was in 4th grade. I remember very distinctly. I remember the day very distinctly. My teacher, Ms. Fiore, she put on this new game for us on the blackboard. She wrote on the blackboard the word carpenter. I still remember it vividly. And she said, how many words can you spell out of that word carpenter? Something went on in my brain going, whoa, what an exciting, fun game. I mean, you can form words out of other words. That is so interesting. I remember the word that I first formed to this day was the word ant. And I go, wow, you could form the word ant out of carpenter. Weird. I also remember I formed the word crap, and I don't think she was very happy about that. But anyway, I ended up winning the contest because I was so excited about it. And what that showed to me was I was fascinated with words, with just the look of words, the sound of words. And I was, something about it just excited me in a primal way that you can't explain. And then I remember, it's a very trivial, stupid story, but it revealed something about my relationship to language. I remember I wrote a short story shortly thereafter, an embarrassing short story that if ever got published would shame me to death. It was about the first humans that appeared on the planet and the vultures that are observing them. The story was written from the point of view of vultures. But here I was like trying to like generate stories from an early age. And then I remember
I've been telling y'all all of this that you believe is for you, or all the things that you thought were for you, they may actually be for you, but we want to know why you think or why you believe they're for you. And as you can see, he's related and he's telling this story about him as a child when he was younger and how he had this experience where he fell in love with words. And where I can go back to is during my childhood and throughout my life, and even my early adulthood, like 20, 21, while I was in school and still learning about myself and learning about leadership and about coaching and about strategy, and not knowing, right? Graduating high school in 2017 and not knowing what I was going to do. Just picked the two things that I thought were kind of cool and would make some money. I picked biology because I liked working with my hands, and I picked dentist because it was also a lot of, minuscule, a lot of detailed work working with your hands, and it incorporated science. I liked science. And I just ran with it, but I didn't know why at the time, right? And I would say writing is his passion. I wouldn't call writing his purpose. I would say he is living out his purpose through his passion of writing. We'll see what his actual purpose is, or if he actually discloses that in this video. But to my example, as I'm growing up and I'm going through school and I'm realizing that dentistry was not for me at all, and I still didn't know why, and I struggled for years and years and years, going to different majors, going undecided, going to business, sports management, going to different schools, playing different sports, meeting different people, having all these different experiences, and still not understanding what my purpose was and why I was here and what I was doing it for. I was controlled by all these different factors in my environment. I was controlled by the people around me telling me I should go in this direction, or I should go in that direction, or I should do this or do that, or do basketball, or do coaching, or be a trainer, or do this. And so I ended up going into a situation where I was forced to think because I didn't want to go down the path that was presented to me, right? I was forced to rethink my whole entire existence and my whole entire world and my whole entire design and my whole entire map, because I didn't take the time when I had the time to think and to understand myself and to think about why I was here and what I wanted to do. So I ended up hitting a roadblock. I joined this corporate position. I was in corporate sales. I was working for the New Jersey Devils, and I was doing well. Still didn't know why I was here or what I was doing it for or why I even accepted this role. But now that I was in it and I started to see the walls closing in on me, then I had the realization, and then my why started to kick in, and then I was able to go back to these small grains in the sand, these small dots throughout my childhood, and pick up these things and understand that I wanted to be a purpose coach, and I wanted to help people learn about their purpose because I didn't have that guidance myself, right? And then when I finally got to this realization and I finally was able to explore all these different avenues of how I can align my passions with this purpose, I found that at that root was lack, right? And I lacked that guidance. I lacked that ability to be confident and trust myself and trust my decisions and trust others around me and build these meaningful relationships and these meaningful connections and build this community around me. And so you know what I said, you know what I did? I changed my mindset and I changed how I thought about that. And then when I changed that mindset, that's when stuff really started to fall into place for me. That's when I found that purpose, right? I was able to discover and understand that purpose. And that purpose was to help, right? I didn't have that help. And when I learned that I didn't have that help, I understood why I wanted to become a dentist, because I wanted to help people with their smile, right? I wanted to help people feel good about themselves, to have that good, that be able to smile, spread joy, spread happiness, right? To be able to express themselves. I realized that that was behind that, but I didn't see that why. Maybe if I saw that why, I would have got deeper into that path, but I wasn't fueling it, right? I was just aimlessly going. I didn't know my purpose of helping people develop that, to feel good about themselves and smile and spread happiness and spread joy was behind that journey at the time. So it fell apart, right? Basketball fell apart for me, my basketball career being a college basketball player, because I didn't realize that my purpose was helping and to help push my team forward and to help push my teammates forward and to help my coach and help the the things that involve making the team better and pushing everyone forward and self-improvement. I didn't see that purpose. I didn't connect it to my passion at the time, so it fell apart. So what in your life is falling apart right now because you aren't aligned with your passions and because your passions aren't being fueled and aren't fueling your purpose? If only you were to connect that right now, and after watching this video, connect that passion with that purpose, how many more successes and how many things would actually work out for you? Not only would you be on the path of the things that you actually enjoy and away from things that you don't, but those things that you actually enjoy, they would be able to work out and they would be able to, fall into place and actually see success. But you have to align that passion with that purpose and know exactly why you are doing it, because that why is going to fuel you. That why for Robert Greene was those words and those stories and putting those words together. The why for me was to help. So now I know that I want to help. Every single thing that I'm doing has that purpose behind it. So when I started a clothing brand, I wanted to help people feel good for cheap, right? I didn't have clothes, nice designer growing up. I want to show people that they could have the nice designer look for cheap and not have to break the pockets, right? They didn't have to hurt the budget. They could do it for a good price, right? When I started my YouTube channel and I was doing reactions, like that's so random, right? A random Playboy Cardi reaction. Okay, but why am I doing a random Playboy Cardi reaction, right? I've always wanted to do a reaction. I've always wanted to do a reaction, and now that I have the confidence because I'm aligned with my purpose, now I could just do that, post it without worrying it, do a little sassy dance and not even give a fuck because I feel confident and I trust myself and I know myself because I've tested myself. And that is what we are going to get into next. When you are aligned with your passions and when you're aligning your purpose with that passion, how you start to live out that life and how you start to become that person is by testing yourself.
I went to Hebrew school as a child, preparing for a bar mitzvah. And the Hebrew letters, I thought this was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. They were like poetry. Learning the sounds of it was difficult enough, but the shape of those letters was so beautiful. So words, the look of words, the sound of words, the putting them together, the stories, they fascinated me, as did books. I often ask people, what is the thing that you want to do the most on your own? If you can close your door and get away from your parents, which all children have that desire for, what is it that you would do? And for me, and this happened a lot, I would close that damn door and I would get out all my books and I would just read and read and read and read and read. These are the little signs that revealed that Robert, very young Robert, had a love of language, that writing was something that would be a natural fit for him. And then, of course, I went on an adventure that I described in my TED Talk about how I ended up writing the kind of books that I write. But that gives you an idea of a little bit of the process. It's a book that I love and I highly recommend called The Frames of Intelligence by Howard Gardner. And basically, the idea is there are 5 forms of intelligence that he kind of signals in his book. And he says that everybody has a kind of tendency in their brain towards that kind of intelligence. And just very briefly, there's words and linguistics, like I mentioned for me. There's music and musical pattern, which is an obsession with sounds for their own sake, and melody and harmony and all these other things. There's mathematics and logic, which is numbers and the ordering of things in logical fashion. There's spatial intelligence, which is something I failed miserably when I was a child, which is actually looking at images and figuring out how to manipulate them in your brain, something that Nikola Tesla was probably the greatest genius at. People who end up in engineering or who are visual artists often have that. And finally, there's kinetic intelligence, which is the body, which is, just basically the love of moving your body and having an awareness of it. I would add another one, which is social intelligence, the love of getting along with people, of empathizing with them, understanding
I would say
the world.
that's right there.
The idea is that your brain has a natural inclination. Just look at it as kind of a
Which one are you
going
on?
down a hill, and that your thoughts and ideas incline in that direction. They incline towards words, towards sounds and music, towards spatial organization, towards logical ordering of things, towards moving your body, towards people. Whatever. There might be even other grades of this or whatever. Okay? And it's not like, I want to be a mathematician when you're 6 years old, or I'm going to become a physicist. It's these little things that reveal that you have this kind of inclination, like I had towards words. And I ask people to kind of dig inside themselves and to find little stories.
Let's see where some of those inclinations were throughout my story. So we saw dentistry, right? That had to do with people. We saw basketball and camaraderie. That's people. That's the social connectivity. Then we see YouTube. We see YouTube community. We see clothing brand. What do all these things have in common? Not only people and love, but also this community and the sense of togetherness is what I'm seeing throughout these little things, right? I've always enjoyed playing on a team and growing up playing youth football and being on teams where not only was I dominating, which was probably also fun, but also being able to interact and push my teammates to become better themselves and also push myself. And in that pursuit, this is where I start to connect those dots and where I start to see my own purpose in myself and in others, right?
Stories when you were a child of those particular moments that will reveal some kind of excitement that you had in relation to something that might seem trivial. There was the story of Steve Jobs when he was 6 years old and his father was taking him through the streets of Sunnyvale, California, and he passed a store of equipment of like cameras, stereos, etc. And his eyes got wide open. Wow, just the beauty of the objects, just the metal, the components, the shininess, how they were designed. He just was fascinated with them. A very trivial moment in his life, something that was kind of just glossed over in his biographies, but for me, revealed one of these things that I'm talking about. So you're a detective looking in the interior of your childhood, of your early years, for those kinds of details. People will say, well, Robert, I don't have anything like that. I'm sorry, I'm lost. I can't remember anything like that. They exist. You're just not looking enough. You're not spending the time. You don't have that desire.
Not spending the time or too distracted. And I want to quickly get to a root that honestly just now came to me while watching this video and unpacking my own purpose, right? So looking back on my time when I was growing up and making a decision as to what I was going to do and where I was going to go to school and what my major was going to be, what my career was going to be, and I picked dentistry, that was so much more leveled or so much more layered than I thought it really was, right? Originally, and now I was just looking at it as I wanted to help people with their smile. I wanted to help people feel good. I wanted to help people spread joy and spread cheer through their smile and through their appearance, make them feel good and confident in themselves, right? That's like one layer back. What I did not realize was my childhood experience that I had when I was younger and I chipped my tooth playing basketball in my backyard during my birthday party, right? We had an early birthday party, early August, late September, or mid-August, let's say, right? 2000 and I don't even know. I'm young, right? This is this is young me. I was still chubby at the time, probably playing football, playing a little basketball. Still garbage, but loved to compete. Was still improving. Still had that dream of going to the NBA or playing pro ball. And my family and I, we were having this birthday party for me and my sister. We were doing our birthdays at the same time. It was a big cookout. Everyone from the church came. Everyone from the neighborhood came. All my fake cousins, all my real cousins, all my neighbors, all my fake aunties and uncles, real ones, right? They came out to this birthday party. And, we had the hot dogs on the grill. We had mac and cheese, corn. It was a good day, right? It was sunny. It was still summertime, too. And so, what do you do at these functions? Like, you having a good time, grown ups drinking and shit, acting a fool. And what the kids doing? The kids playing sports. The kids playing video games. And I was a sports kid, so we had the basketball hoop in my driveway. And my driveway was like an L, right? So there's this part of the driveway that's in the front yard, and it comes all the way to the back. And then there's this back part. So usually we had the hoop over here in this corner in the back part. But for the cookout, we said, let's move the hoop over here. And it was a bigger part of the driveway. It was more asphalt over there. There was more space to dribble and cross, shake niggas up and shit. You feel me? Pull up. And so we had the hoop over there, and it wasn't usually over there. So the hoop was against the fence. And you guys know how driveways have those stone blocks around the edges to line it up, make it look fancy and stuff. So there was these stone blocks around the edges, and because the hoop was moved, I didn't even realize that there was less space. Usually where the hoop was before, there was grass behind it, right? And there was just bushes and stuff. But now there was a fence, so there was less space to move. So when I'm attacking the basket, I'm going like there's grass and I can stop, right? I can just like walk, when you go lay it up and then you can like walk it off behind the hoop. And usually in the gym there's padding there that you would run into, but here there's just a fence and then there's stone on the bottom. So I'm attacking the hoop hard as shit. I'm going dumb hard, like I'm finna lay it up and then just walk it off, walk behind the hoop and walk back around. But there's no behind, right? So I go to the hoop hard as shit. I'm about to lay it up. I go for the right hand lay. And I'm playing with this dude from the church, right? I'm playing one-on-one. And as I'm going up for the lay, here this nigga go trying to pin my shit off the board. He go up for the block, like he finna pin it off the board. And because there's no space to fall or to land or to walk it off, we both fall on each other, right? And we both fall and we hit the floor and we hit the concrete. That black, hard-ass asphalt just got paved over. And we fall. Boom. And then I just bite the asphalt. I just took a bite out of that motherfucker, right? And I was hysterical. I was hysterically crying. I thought I died. My face was scratched up. My eyebrow was scraped up. My tooth was chipped. My face was bloody. My knees, my elbows, everything was scraped up, banged up. I thought I broke every bone in my body the way I was crying. I ran inside, cried to my mom, cried to my dad. I'm like, yo, I just, feel me? I'm a kid. I have no type of pain tolerance. I was bawling, especially because my tooth was chipped. And I thought that, like, I felt the nerve. I don't know if you guys ever chipped a tooth before or ever had, like, a really painful experiences. But the way my tooth was chipped, my nerve was exposed. So not only was it sharp and my mouth was all bloody, but the cold air was getting on my tooth and it was hitting that nerve. Like imagine, like when you eat a spoonful of cold ice cream and your teeth just get all cold. Imagine that times 100, because your nerve is exposed, right? And so boom, I'm crying hysterically. My tooth is chipped, and I was so embarrassed. Not only because I was hurt and embarrassed because of the situation, but also because my tooth was chipped, right? And my smile had meant so much to me because that was one of my favorite things about myself. That was what I defined myself as a kid with a nice smile, nice eyelashes, cute young nigga, like, you feel me? That's how I defined myself at the time. And so now that my tooth was chipped and I wasn't like a little ladies man, I wasn't the little ladies killer no more, which I still was getting to it at the time. But I was young. That's like a different story. The point is that now that my chip was toothed and now that my tooth was chipped, I felt bad about my appearance. And I used to talk like this. I used to talk where you couldn't see my tooth and it was all jagged. It was at a cut. It was at an edge like this, like straight across, and it was sharp. And I wouldn't open my mouth. I wouldn't smile, and I was just like miserable. But I still tried to push through and be a normal kid. But then, right, where the dentistry comes into play is, I went to the dentist, and he fixed my tooth for me, right. But not only did he fix it and make me have a good smile, right. He fixed my smile and helped me and fixed my confidence, right, and helped me become more confident in my smile. And not only did I want to do that for people, but when I went to the dentist, I had another painful experience as he was fixing it, right? So you pair that first painful experience with the lack of confidence that it gave me and this miserable feeling of being embarrassed that I had this chipped tooth and not wanting to smile and not want to go outside and not want to interact and connect. You pair all those feelings of lack with this. Not only, yes, he did help me, feel more confident and be able to smile again, but it was also a painful experience. So there's a whole realm around that, right? So how does that shape my want to be a dentist? And I didn't know at the time why, but now I do, because I can look back on that and pinpoint the small details, right? So not only was I embarrassed, boom, and he fixed it, boom, but he also gave me pain. So what did I want to do? I want to be a dentist, right? And be able to help people, but also not give them a painful experience at the dentist or have this feeling like when I go to the dentist, this shit about to hurt. I know you have that feeling every single time, which is why y'all don't brush your teeth. When you go to the dentist, you're like, damn, this shit about to hurt. He's about to get in my gums. My shit is about to bleed. My gums are going to be swollen. Like, I wanted to make sure that through my dexterity and through my ability to be gentle and work with people and, work my hands in the slightest maneuvers, that I could help them and help them go to the dentist and actually have a good experience, right? And an experience that wasn't painful and that helped them with their confidence, like it helped me with my confidence and helped them want to smile and spread joy. So you see all those little things they pinpoint, but because I didn't know the why, I wasn't able to reach that goal. Now, and obviously now I don't want to become a dentist, but now because I know my why and I know all these pinpoints behind this purpose coaching and starting this YouTube and starting this clothing brand, now I can actually succeed, right? And not only succeed, but define my own success. So that is how you guys can go back and pinpoint those small little things in your childhood, right? And see why you did that or why you made this decision so much later down in life. So let's get back to the video.
Desire for reaching it. You're not writing every day in a notebook about what they could be. You're not looking hard enough. They are there. There are moments where you felt so excited by something you could barely control it, and there was a kind of a pleasure in it. And so even if, let's say it was music that excited you, even if you had to practice the piano day by day, a rather boring task, you found practice actually kind of fun. These are signs of what I call your life's task. So that's the process that you want to go through. And in my book, Mastery, in chapter 1, I give you more details about how to look for it. But once you discover it, it's like gold and everything will open up for you. Hopefully, if you're young, if you're in that golden range of 18 to 25 and you're kind of searching, you will go through this process in a deep way and you will find what that is, right? If you're older, the process is a little different, a little more difficult, but still very.
The reason why is because the older you get, the more trauma you have. And the more you start to not be able to learn new tricks. They say like an old dog can't learn new tricks. The reason why is because they're so filled with trauma and distractions and all these different trainings that they're unable to train themselves. So if you're watching this right now, you're probably closer to age with me, right? You're probably, either starting high school or graduating college or just now entering the workforce. or even older, right? But it's important that we do this right now while we still can, and we have less traumas that we've been through and less things stopping us from learning. Because the longer you wait to find purpose, the longer you wait to define what your own world is and define your own self, the more you will not be able to find it when it truly comes to, when it's truly important, right? When it's finally time at the end of your life and you're like, damn, I wish I would have done that thing. And then you just die, right? Then you'll probably be looking back on this video and being like, man, I should have took that nigga serious, man. I should have just focused on myself and not even took the video serious, but take yourself seriously. Take your own purpose seriously. You don't want to wait till you're 50 years old and then you realize that, damn, I could have been the da 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 da. I could have been the best do 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 do. If only you found out why you wanted to be the best at that, and then found out if it was truly for you, if you were truly making that decision for yourself, and then if you truly made that decision for yourself, using your why to fuel you to that level that you always desired and that you always thought you can get to, but because you didn't have the fuel, you didn't have the why, you couldn't get there, right? So do it now while you still can.
Very important. And the idea is, once discovered, you're going to have some adventure, you're going to explore. All right, I want to be a writer. Oh, okay, I want to get into music. Oh, I want to start my own business. You're not going to be so tunnel vision and just go into one job, into one thing. You're going to experiment. You're going to have some fun. You're going to have some adventures. You might travel. You might do things, but you're always kind of focused in that general direction. If you're a writer, you're reading books, right, et cetera, et cetera. If you're an entrepreneur, you're starting little businesses here and you're learning about them. By the time you're 30, you've tried 4 or 5 different things, and now you're ready for some kind of creative explosion, right? But this is the key thing in your life. And it's once you discover it, everything else will open up for you. So just learn the lesson of the most important thing that you can do in your life is to know who you are, really, to sum this all up simply. To know what makes you different, what makes you unique, what you love that's different from what other people love, right? And I tell people, when you're older, continually create lists of things you hate and things you love, and look through them and analyze them and go, is this because what other people are telling me to hate and what other people are telling me to love, or does it come truly from within? So this process of finding your life's task is not just about your career, it's also about your mental health, about discovering who you are, what makes you unique, so you can become acquainted with your own desires, your own impulses, and not so controlled by what other people are doing and thinking.
Amazing. Couldn't have said any better. I'm gonna let him do the outro. He just did a perfect outro, said everything that I was gonna say. But one thing that I'll leave you guys with, and I want to harp on, knowing yourself and determining love versus hate. What fuels you versus what doesn't fuel you. And that's so important that you know yourself and you're able to distinguish that, because you get to see and you get to make the decisions for yourself based on your own view and based on your own design, right? Instead of saying, well, I love basketball, or let's think of something brand new, right? I love ice skating because, and I hate swimming. And then maybe you'll get to a point where you write all these things down, you see love with the ice skating, and you see hate with swimming. And then you realize that you hate swimming because your mom didn't let you swim at the beach when you were younger, and you saw kids that were in the water and they were laughing at you because you had a Speedo on and all that. You feel me? But then you realize that, damn, I always wanted to swim. So let me get into swimming. Let me learn how to swim. And then you realize that you actually love swimming. You don't hate it. You just hate it because you had that experience. And then you look at love of ice skating and you see, all right, well, why do I even love ice skating? Well, every time I went ice skating with my mom, we got hot chocolate and she spent time with me and she gave me love right after we did hot chocolate, or right after we did ice skating. And then you start to see that it wasn't actually the activity of ice skating. It was just the moments that you had with your mom, the hot chocolates, and then you remember how that hot chocolate was tasting. It was tasting real, it was bitter, but it was sweet. It had the marshmallows with the, boom, boom, boom. And then you realize that it wasn't even ice skating that you loved, and it wasn't swimming that you hated. It was those feelings, right? It was those feelings of lack. and those feelings of being teased or having time with your mom and having attention and love, or not being able to connect with the children. And then you can determine for yourself what you want to do with that, whether you want to take swimming and move it over to love, or when you want to take ice skating and move it over to hate. You don't even have to move it over to hate. You could just move it to a different bin. You could keep it in love if you want, if you truly love that. Or was it the love that your parent was giving you that was what you truly love, not the actual action? So I'll end it right there. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and go ahead and think about your purpose right now. Drop something in the comments that can motivate you. You can look back at that comment and be like, all right, I'm going to do this. I said I was going to do this, so I'm going to do this. Drop that down in the comments, something that's going to push you to do and look at your purpose and look at yourself tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And that you can come back to this video, watch this video again, look at your comment and be like, damn, I did that. Write that down right now. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one.